get ready with me while I process thoughts from a recent situationship that ended due to me having herpes for the first time. Okay, let's wipe these away because we're gonna do our makeup.
The herpes simplex virus that causes cold sores is highly contagious and it can be spread through your saliva. This is your sign not to share your lipsticks, lip balms or lip glosses with your friends.
Today, my whole life could change, and I'm scared. Friday night, I started having a burning sensation whenever I peed. Was not pleasant. So Saturday, I went to urgent care, and they put me on medication for a UTI. So I started the UTI medication on Sunday, and then that night, I noticed that my right lymph node in my groin was swollen. By Monday, the UTI meds still haven't kicked in. It still really hurt whenever I peed. So I called to make an appointment with my gyno. And it's now Wednesday. My appointment's in like half an hour. This subject is very stigmatized, has a lot of shame around it. But then I noticed warts on my genitals. Very, very painful. These last few days, I've just felt run down, icky, haven't had an appetite, uncomfortable. It hurts to walk. It hurts to sit. Everything hurts. I'm scared. If it's herpes, I know it's not the end of the world. I'm about to go to my appointment now, so I will come back with an update. I have herpes. If I want to have unprotected sex, I have to tell them. I don't know how this is going to affect my dating life. I can't give birth vaginally if I have an outbreak. I don't know. I don't fucking know how I'm supposed to tell my parents this. It's also just fucking painful. And I'm gonna have these outbreaks for the rest of my life. I feel like my parents are gonna be so disappointed in me. I don't know.
Fuck around and find out, literally. Nuns aren't getting herpes. Virgin women saving it for marriage aren't getting STDs. Just thoughts screwing a whole football team that's getting them. It's videos like these that hopefully wake up young women. Her life is ruined because no man of value will be in a relationship with her, let alone have sex with her. She kinda looks like a good girl who's in college, so her parents probably have saved money since she was born, along with the 401k to pay the 6-figure college tuition cost, only to have all of her holes filled at a frat party. This is why parents should not send their daughters off to college. It's slut university. They spend less time actually studying and more getting banged out. This is why you gotta be cautious sleeping with attractive thoughts, because it's not them that may not be sleeping around, but it's the chads they're hooking up with who are. So one thought could sleep with 3 chads, but if each of those chads have slept with 100 other people, that's 300 people she's exposed to. What do the commenters think? With 24,000 likes, a chick comments, "Herpes is very stigmatized, but do not be ashamed," or anything of the sort. "You are amazing for sharing." There's a reason why it is stigmatized. Because it sucks. Not being able to sit down for someone who does nothing sucks. Try not doing it after a long day of blue-collar work. It also says the female who got them slept around a lot, as in she's a whore. Another chick commented, "Girl, I work at an obgyn office. HSV is so common. Legit so common. Not talked about as much as it should be. You got this, heart. So it must be more common than people think with thoughts. If the abortion clinics are full, then the doc's office screening for STDs are probably also full. Another comment, girl, when I told my mom, she was like, me too, girl. A thought responded to that comment, your mom is the bomb, heart. No, her mom is a whore too. Whores multiply like rabbits. If the mom isn't quote-unquote judging them, then they're more likely to do anything they want. Hence why the commenter got an STD.
That one time we had someone come in and she thought that she had skin tags down there. So she came in, she's having a procedure done, put her legs up in the stirrups, and that's when we saw it. And by it, I mean them. Lots of them. So she thought they were skin tags. And I give it to her. They do tend to look like skin tags. But they were warts. Medical terms, they were condyloma. Now, by the time she was there, I had easily counted over 30 of them. They were all over her cookie, all over the inner thighs, down to her peach. Like they were everywhere. This poor thing thought that she had skin tags when really she had condyloma. She was telling her partners that they were skin tags. Now, mind you, this is an STD. Now, she had HPV, and that is what causes condyloma if you have that strain. But unfortunately, we're just not educated as a whole in exactly how these STDs happen. We're just not taught this in school. We're basically taught if you are intimate and you're not smart about it, you're going to get an STD, boom, flat period, that's it. Or pregnant. So she could have been spreading this STD and probably was, but nobody knew. The men probably didn't know. She didn't know. She was just passing them off as skin tags. This was not her fault to an extent because she just was not educated. And she was a transfer patient to us, so this was one of the first times we were seeing her. So I don't know what the previous office told her about having HPV and the strains that she had and what they can possibly cause. But she unfortunately left with a whole new bag full of stuff that she probably didn't want to hear and I'm sure was absolutely shocked over. Have fun, but be smart, and if something doesn't look right, question it.
Did she really think it was skin tags, or did she make an excuse for spreading a non-curable contagious STD? Men, if you see bumps on her private parts, just leave. Maybe she turned off the lights and picked desperate men, because these women have no morals. They're going to ride the whore bus till the wheels fall off and it all runs off a cliff. Any guy that has been with her, if he went down on her, he would probably get genital herpes on his mouth. Like this degenerate. This TikTok was shot in Phoenix, so if you're a man who lives there, watch out. An ignorant woman asks, can it be cured? And someone responded, there's no cure for HPV though. If your body doesn't fight it off, you could end up with cancer. So these thoughts might disappear after all. Some simp or slut wrote, it's likely that we all have HPV. It just presents differently in everyone. I work in colorectal and we see it every day. No. Cope harder. A thought responded to that. 70% of the population has it. Most people will get it at some point in their lives, but the body will clear it. Worse, no test for men, just for women. No. Maybe 70% of chads and the sluts, but not the average guy who gets 3 partners in their lifetime. Another thought commented, yes, thank you. I got HPV with warts when I was a junior in high school, 17 years old, and we learned nothing about it in sex ed. Thankfully, I'll be 30 in a couple. Yeah, sex ed does teach about it. She was just too busy practicing putting the condom on the cucumber to notice when they said that unprotected sex can lead to STDs. The best birth control and way to prevent from getting STDs is to stay a virgin till marriage.
So I have a lot to say about STI dating apps. They are trash. Do not use them. First off, the idea that they are pushing is that you should be dating people who also have an STI. That's furthering the stigma. Like, that's wild. While they're like claimed to be like positive and whatnot, no. Like, positive singles, you are trash. Second of all, I am banned from positive singles, which is chaos. I put in my profile that I do work to destigmatize herpes. Within, after like updating that in my profile, I think within like an hour or two, I was banned. So they want people to feel bad about themselves because then people will keep subscribing and giving them money and signing up for their apps. And also the app is like sus. Like, it's scary. Like, the people on, like, oh, I just like checked it out once, and like I'm sure there's great people on there, but like in my experience it was sus. And like there's also an option, because obviously like it's mostly for people who have herpes or HIV, but there was like an option to put like if you have like gonorrhea or like syphilis, chlamydia, and it's like that's curable. So like, why are you saying you have that? Like, if you know you have it, go to the doctor, get your antibiotics, and then you don't have it. Like, it's just weird. And then like since I run like an Instagram about herpes and TikTok, whatever, their like salespeople will message me all the time with like a ton of spelling errors and like ask me to like market them and like if I want to be an ambassador, and I never respond, but I want to be like, you guys banned me like 2 years ago. It's just ridiculous. And yeah, I just feel like things like positive singles just furthers the idea that like we are like this, like we're othered, we shouldn't be dating STI negative people, and like that's just not true. Like, you can date whoever you want. If you want to just use it as like not in like terms of like herpes, just in terms of like, hey, this is another way to meet people, that's totally fine. But personally, like, I do not support that app.
How degenerate and scummy does she have to be banned from an app that collects infected people? The bar is already very low. She must have had more than one STD and infected people with more than what they had. She claimed it was just because she put in her dating profile that she works to reduce the seriousness of the situation. This is how more people are going to get it, because by reducing the quote-unquote stigma, people aren't going to think getting STDs are a serious situation when it is. And of course, she's complaining about bad choices she made. The regular dating apps should ban people who have STDs, but they're part of the feminist cult. They're not gonna hold the women accountable. Her TikTok user handle has slut in the name. Of course, a chick said this comment: "My therapist once called PA Singles a fetish app, prioritizing a trade in a potential partner that has no bearing on how good of a partner they'd be." No, people aren't going on the STD app just because they like STDs or want to catch one. They go there out of necessity and to be responsible, to find other people who have the same non-curable disease so they don't have to worry about spreading it. Another chick wrote, "Exactly, like, I do get low-key offended when people ask why I don't just date people with herpes." These feminists are complaining that herpes is stigmatized, yet they won't even date people who have the same STD. Unbelievable. You'd have to be a fool to not ask for an STD test at this point when dealing with modern women.
So I'm just sitting in my car until I have to go into work. But on the way to work, I found myself crying over a dude again. Ugh, cringe. But I'm crying over this dude that I was recently talking to, and things were going really good until I disclosed to him that I had herpes. And then things just kind of changed. At first he was really understanding, and then a few days passed, and then he was just like, basically he didn't want to see me romantically anymore because of it, because he was uneducated and doesn't know much about STDs, which is fine, but I deserve somebody that's willing to educate themselves, you know, willing to see me as the person that I am. I'm so much more than a person that has herpes. I'm a beautiful individual with so much going for me, and it's just frustrating to feel rejected because of this.
Nah, he's educated for sure. Better be safe than sorry. 30 seconds of intimacy can ruin the rest of his life. More men need to think like this. These modern women are walking landmines, whether it's STDs in her case, or child support, alimony, false accusations. The average man can get seriously fucked up by these feminists. She thinks she still deserves a great guy. As the Joker said,
"Police, get what you fucking deserve!"
Her main profile pic on her TikTok is her in a bikini. Talk about a thirst trap. Not a poem she wrote, or cake she baked, or basket she weaved. Just her in a bikini. She talks about being rejected because of this issue, but how many times has she rejected a guy for being too short, or not wealthy enough, or not big enough? The crowd that cries, stopping judging, are the ones who judge every little infraction a guy does. Don't ever feel sorry for a modern woman. They constantly lie to men to get wined and dined for free, only to get banged out by Chad or Tyrone at the end of the night. A thought commented, "Sorry for the delayed comment, but I just got diagnosed with HSV2 last week and I am struggling with it. Thank you for normalizing this. Heart." Nah, she normalized it to bitches who sleep around. Another thought stated, "I've had HSV2 for over 10 years. I've been rejected a lot, but remember, rejection is protection." Yes, us men who reject STD thoughts are protected by absences. We are more than our diagnoses. Not to MGTOW or passport bros. There's plenty of women overseas who don't partake in sport fucking.
For any woman who fears not being accepted with herpes and feels like it's gonna fuck up her dating life, do you know what a really easy hack is? Put it on a dating app. Even if you don't want to meet men on a dating app, like I literally do this shit to entertain you guys, put it on a dating app just to create the neural pathway that acceptance is possible. And number two, loads of people have herpes because you think right now that you're the only woman with it. And look, here, Hinge asked me what my green flags in relationship are. Emotional intelligence, authentic communication, a strong desire to please both yourself and your woman. Me being the woman, my pleasure, important, you gotta care about it. And look at my nice easy disclosure at the end. By the way, I'm HSV2 positive. Now, Connor, he agrees, he's here for my pleasure, and look, he's got it too. I mean, I'm not going to match with him. I don't think that's a good reason to match. But if I thought that I was the only person with that, look, evidence, I'm not the only one. Bang.
Unbelievable. She literally stated she wanted a guy there for her pleasure and to have the same STD. A guy met those requirements, she rejected him. That's why you don't placate to women's demands, because then they'll see you as a guarantee and think they can do better. Or modern women will see you as a beta male and move on to the ex-felon who'll choke them in the bedroom. Big credit for her to putting it on her profile, even though it's all the way at the bottom and not at the top, as if anyone reads profiles. She looks like a post-wall thought who's still in shape, but is slowly aging away. The only comment on the profile asks, "Are you still married?" Apparently not. If she was married, sounds like she cheated and got the STD, hence why she's single now. Like I said, she still looks better than average, but there's plenty of aged out thoughts who look just as good at her but aren't infected with anything.
Get ready with me while I process thoughts from a recent situationship that ended due to me having herpes for the first time. Okay, let's wipe these away because we're gonna do our makeup. I've only had one significant rejection, and that was after a first date, and I don't count like random matches on apps that fizzle out. This is definitely a connection that I didn't expect because I wasn't looking for anything deeper or more relationship-like, but that's kind of what it became. Like talking every day or texting every day for like 2 months, which I'm not used to anymore. What was hard is that they weren't worried for the majority of the connection, but later started to get worried because of like a little scare that they had due to their anxiety, and then going down a wormhole and learning more about it than they knew. So for example, asymptomatic shedding was something that they learned about through this spiral, and it freaked them out. They were worried about pretty impossible things or things that were very, very low risk. And then I started to learn that, there was a lot of anxiety there, which I can relate to. We talked about it so much, and I sent them so much information about it. And, they ended up acknowledging that, like, as much as they know that I'm no greater risk than the next person, it was the knowledge of it that they couldn't get past. And to me, that's just like they have too much stigma around it. One example is like when you have HSV2, the risk of transmitting your herpes to someone orally is extremely low because that type just doesn't like the mouth. And then likewise, if you have genital herpes, you're not going to give it to anyone from your mouth because you don't have it orally. But those are the kinds of things that they were worrying about. So like those are things that like I can't challenge because it's not rational. And I don't mean that as a dig. I just mean that's how anxiety can work. I think what's really hard about that stuff is then you worry so much more about ever potentially transmitting to that person when that's already something you worry about. And then what's generally really painful and was really painful for me about this was having someone who is like all about you and loves everything about you and can't get past that one thing. So it makes you feel like if you can't get past that thing, then I can't be that special to you. But anxiety doesn't care, and neither does stigma. So if it's that big of a deal for somebody, it's not going to matter. And what also got really hard was trying to maintain some kind of connection around that. So like initially just being like, let's just try to be friends, but then that's like really hard when you have a connection. And I think one of the hardest things is the temptation to like maintain that connection with conditions, and that's something that I always speak out against, because that will really kill your confidence, as if the feeling around your herpes isn't already. And the temptation is strong to like betray yourself and your values and just accept the conditions. Go to part 2.
Let's ask this question. If the shoe was on the other foot, as in the guy had herpes and she didn't, would she be so understanding and would not treat it like a stigma? These thoughts make virtue out of necessity. And are we really to believe she told him right away and they talked for a couple of months every day till he went down a rabbit hole? Or did she waste his time to try to trick him into a relationship? Top commenter said, I get that, but it's also his right 100% to choose to not engage. Burn. Chicks don't give a shit about another bitch if they don't have the same problem. The woman in the video responded, also, if you're not going to engage with people with herpes, LOL, better make sure you don't have it first, sweetie. And the chick came back to burn her again. I get my pap yearly, sweetie. I'm sorry you have herpes, but don't cry over someone not wanting to be a part of it. A verified TikTok thought with 2 million followers commented, one of my GFs has HSV too. She has had lots of partners since getting it, but takes meds every day and has never given it to anyone. You really think her thoughtfluencer friend is telling her partners about it? It's selfish whores of Babylon like this which keeps STDs around. They don't want to live with the consequences of their actions and not screw, so it's their pleasure over someone else's life. The rest of the commenters either admit to getting herpes or is blowing smoke up their STD woman's ass. The bottom line is this is what the modern STD woman is going to do. She's gonna try to STD trap a man, so he's forced to be with her, especially in her late years. This is why all of them would prefer someone without an STD, because it's not a fling they're after, but something close to marriages. As if you need more reason to go MGTOW or passport bro. If a hot thought suddenly takes interest in you, ask for a current STD test up front, because it's a trap! As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.